Great, welcome everybody for this new webinar, the 7th of the series. This is really nice. And today we still have a new record, as well as I've received more than 94 subscriptions for today. Yes, which is a new record. So as usual, I'm gonna ask you to turn off your mic to be sure to do not have any interference when we are speaking. I'm also gonna ask you to turn off your camera. Okay. So as usual, this webinar is recorded. Okay, so don't worry if you've got some problem with your connections or something like that. Don't worry, it's recorded, so you will receive as usual the link for the replay. So no problem. As usual, we are going to use the chat mode. Okay, so if you've got any question, don't hesitate to use the chat mode. So today we are going to discover Great American West, okay, which is a really nice part of the US that a lot of you already knows, but some don't. So it will be the opportunity to discover this amazing region. You will see, so we will have our presentation, and at the end, as usual, we will have a few words from our tour operator partner as USA Travel and Wings and Wheels. And you will also receive, as usual, a link with the quiz. Okay. So today, so as well as the quiz is still part of our American Specialist. Today we will also draw 3 winners for amazing goodie bags from the Great American West. So don't hesitate to play as usual. I also want to remind you before starting that if you have missed some webinar, you can find the replay on our YouTube channel. If you don't have the link of our YouTube channel, don't hesitate to ask me and I will send you the link. And if you've got any question, please don't hesitate to ask us and to use the chat mode. And if there is a lot of questions, don't worry if we don't answer all the questions today. I will answer to you after the webinar, and if there is some special question for Marjolein, don't worry, I will send all the requests to Marjolein and she will answer to you without any problem. So let's start. So and also I'm gonna continue to authorize the participant who will arrive later, so no problem. So I suppose that you can all hear me, so just tap on the chat mode if everybody can hear me. Yes, okay, perfect. Can you also see the presentation? Yes, so perfect. So let's go. So as I told you today, it's a special webinar over the Great American West. So we will discover the Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, Wyoming, and South Dakota. Okay, which are some really amazing regions. You will see more wild than the other western region of the USA. And today, to make this discovery, we will welcome Marjolein, which is the representative of the Great American West here on the Belgian market. So Marjolein, Marjolein, good afternoon, and thanks for being with us for this next hour.
Hi, everyone.
So now, if you are all ready, Marjolein, we are going to switch with your presentation. Great. And let's go to discover the Great American West.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I saw a lot of familiar names coming into the presentation. It's a shame we cannot do this live, but I think this is a great initiative and a way to get together, well, even if it's through our computers. For the ones that don't know me, my name is Marjolein. I'm from Target Travel, and we represent the Great American West, I think for 20 years actually this year. I'm going to tell you a bit more about the states of Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, Wyoming, and South Dakota, as Gerald told you. And I want to start with a little movie. If it's
This is the Great American West. Nestled in the northern part of the USA lies a region that's truly magical, packed with epic vistas and stunning natural beauty. Awe-inspiring outdoor adventure awaits visitors here, coupled with an abundance of cultural activities. In the Great American West, you're bound to experience the unforgettable. Hike legendary trails in the footsteps of world-famous explorers. Encounter a wide variety of majestic wildlife like North American bison, wild mustangs, and moose. And experience the authentic and breathtaking beauty of 11 national parks, monuments, and memorials, including Yellowstone, Glacier, and Theodore Roosevelt National Parks, and Mount Rushmore National Monument. Here, there's an idyllic blend of friendly, small-town charm and big city amenities. Vibrant downtown areas welcome you with eclectic restaurants, entertainment, and shopping. This is a food lover's paradise, where you can enjoy fine dining on a downtown rooftop or a rustic meal on an expansive prairie. Pull up a chair for a tasting at a small batch winery or distillery, or toast to your adventures at a beer garden or local craft brewery. The pioneer spirit is alive in these wide open spaces. Visit museums and interpretive centers to take a hands-on journey into Old West history and Native American cultures. See monuments from battles gone by and come face to face with U.S. presidents and colorful characters as you step back in time. This is the Great American West, adventurous, genuine, welcoming, and full of spectacular natural wonders waiting to be explored.
So this makes you want to travel again, I would say. It's been a while since I have seen this video myself, and I must say it gives me goosebumps and makes me realize how much we miss the travel. But the best we can do is just take a look at what's there and just make nice itineraries and just enjoy looking ahead. First of all, for those of you who don't know, a quick location of the area. It's nestled up in the north, as the video said, and it's against the Canadian border. And as from flying into the region, because you can see this is a large region, there are no actual international airports in the region. But the airports mostly used are Seattle, Portland, Salt Lake, Denver, Minneapolis, and sometimes even Vancouver or Calgary. The airports mostly used, I would say, would be Denver and Salt Lake City, because that's the quickest way into the region. I'll take you to each state apart, and you will see a lot of the impressions that you saw in the little movie, the cowboy lifestyle, the wildlife, the nature. Of course, every state has the same specifics. And I'd like to start with Wyoming, and of course Wyoming you all know from Yellowstone. But Wyoming is also called the Cowboy States. The capital of Wyoming is Cheyenne. It's based in the eastern south corner. Cheyenne is a nice little cowboy town, and it's the main event of the year is the Cheyenne Frontier Days, which is a big rodeo festival, and that's held in July. In the upper north corner, and that's actually the Black Hills area, we have Devil's Tower. And Devil's Tower is a very specific, iconic nature mountain, I would say. There are lots of legends about how this is created, and it's a sacred place for the Native Americans. When you go closer to Yellowstone, you come in the little cowboy town of Cody, and Cody is based in the it's the eastern entrance of Yellowstone, and it's a nice little cowboy town. In summers there's an every night rodeo. It's not that expensive to attend, and it's really, if you have clients going there, the rodeo is, I think, from June, July, and August every night, and it's really, I would recommend everyone to go there for at least one night to experience real Western entertainment. In Cody also, the Buffalo Bill Center of the West is really good to visit. It's a museum entertainment place. They have 5 different museums, and one of them is which I really liked, is the Nature Historic Museum, and that one talks about Yellowstone. It talks about the wildlife, it talks about geology, and it talks about the geysers. It's really nice, especially if you are with kids. It's a good educational museum to visit. When you enter Yellowstone, what can you expect? Of course, you can expect wildlife. If you are really lucky, in spring you can see bears, but also bison. And bison, it's a promise you see bison. And I once was traveling with a girl, and she says, well, I hope I will see bison in Yellowstone. And I told her, you don't have to hope, I promise you will see bison. But there's a lot of other kinds of animals that you can see if you keep your eyes open. And of course, Yellowstone, you have the geothermal features. They have mud pots, geysers, and this is one of the most iconic ones, I think, the Grand Prismatic Hot Spring in Yellowstone, together with the Old Faithful Geyser, which is right in the middle geyser basin. If you have clients visiting Yellowstone, please keep in mind that it's a really big national park. It's the first one, the oldest one, and the roads look like there are 2 circles, so it looks like an 8. The total mileage is about 200 miles, I would say. So one day or 2 nights really is not enough, and I would also recommend to always book at least 3 nights, especially if you want to do Grand Teton National Park as well. Lodging in Yellowstone is most of the time really an issue, I would say. Of course, there are limited accommodations. We have had a lot of renovations over the last 2 years. But if you want to have clients wanting to stay in the park, please make sure that you book early, and keep in mind that prices could be a little bit expensiver than you're used to. Alternatives for lodging in Yellowstone could be Cody, and it's a 2-hour drive to the entrance of the park. Jackson in the south, and then you have to cross over Grand Teton National Park, but that's also a 2-hour drive. But we have also 3 entrances in Montana, and West Yellowstone is the closest one. And from West Yellowstone in Montana, it's only like a 20-minute drive to be in the park. Then Grand Teton National Park, that's located just south of Yellowstone. And as I was saying, if you leave Yellowstone in the south, it's a good 1.5–2 hour drive to Jackson, and then you have to cross Grand Teton National Park. My recommendation would be to always spend 2 nights in Jackson, so you can get back the next day and just enjoy Grand Teton National Park, because it's totally different than Yellowstone. The mountains are much younger. There are lakes, you can hike, you can cross the lakes with boats. It's really quiet compared to the grandness and majesticness of Yellowstone. And I think in English there's a word which I think is really great to describe Grand Teton National Park, and they say it's pristine. I think I haven't been able to find a good word in Dutch, but I think pristine is just a good word to describe Grand Teton National Park. Then, as I was saying, to the south, Jackson, another nice cowboy country town, and they have also rodeos every week in summer, and I think that's on Wednesday and Fridays, in case you have missed the Cody one. Then we have a lesser known area in Wyoming. It's called Flaming Gorge, and if you are driving in from Salt Lake City, you can consider to drive through Flaming Gorge instead of just taking the interstate. It's really an unknown area. It's beautiful, it's very quiet. I really recommend people taking that little detour. Of course, not only in Wyoming, but in all the 5 states, we have beautiful scenery, beautiful scenic highways, and as you can see, driving it by motorbike is just a great adventure. Ranches are also everywhere in the state, and if you clients really want to have an experience, I would always recommend to do like 2 or 3 nights on a ranch. Then you can do a guest ranch where they take you out horse riding. They will do barbecues. It's just fun to have the feeling that you're actually visiting people or locals, and it just really adds to the experience to have 2 days of cowboy lifestyle. Of course, in winter it's a beautiful area as well. Just outside of Jackson, they have the National Elk Refuge. As you can see, that should be a really unique experience. Yellowstone in winter can only be reached by snow coach. You can stay there, you can stay in the snow lodge, and that's really a unique experience as well. From Wyoming, I'll take you to South Dakota, and South Dakota is a totally different state, I would say. And right on the western side, we have the Black Hills, and on the south is Custer State Park. And Custer State Park, you will find a lot of wildlife. Again, there's a herd of bison, and every year in September, we have the Buffalo Roundup, and the Buffalo Roundup, they will put all the whole herd together, and they will brand the calves and vaccinate the calves. So it's really an adventure to see that. The Black Hills has beautiful, beautiful scenery, beautiful drives, and of course you cannot visit the Black Hills without seeing Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore is located in the north of the Black Hills, just near Keystone, and it's, I think, maybe one of the most iconic pictures that's used on all USA programs, I would say. And just only 20 minutes drive from Mount Rushmore, you will find Crazy Horse Memorial. And Crazy Horse Memorial, to give you an idea on how big or how small Mount Rushmore is and how big Crazy Horse is, I'll just get back for you. Like the 4 faces of the presidents will fit in the forehead of Crazy Horse. Oh no, of course, Crazy Horse is they started in the 50s, I think, 1950s, building this, and it's still in progress. In the left corner of the slide, you will see what it's supposed to look like whenever it is finished. They make some progress every year. I know they are using a little bit more advanced blasting techniques now, but no one knows when it's finished. I really recommend the order of visiting. First go to Mount Rushmore and then go to Crazy Horse because of the difference in size. This one is very, very impressive. And personally, I really like the visitor center for Crazy Horse Memorial because it gives you a really beautiful impression of Native American history in this area. Rapid City in South Dakota in the Black Hills. Rapid City is really a good place if you want to be for a few nights in the same area. You can stay in Rapid City to Mount Rushmore. It's about an hour drive, or sorry, about a half an hour drive. To the Black Hills, it's about an hour, sorry, to Badlands National Park, it's about an hour drive. So you can just be in one place and visit all the sites from there. Rapid City did a lot of renovations in the last decade, I would say, and it's a really nice, vibrant downtown area with all restaurants and shops and lots to do in the evening. When you move up north in the Black Hills, you will come to the old mining area. It's deadwood, sturgeons, spearfish, and historic deadwood. Well, they kept it the way it is, and it's kind of a wild town where in summer they have reenactions. They will do role plays in the streets where they there's a live shooting of Buffalo Bill. It's really fun, and it's an area where gambling still is legal. So if you want to have some adult evening entertainment, you can find it there as well. As I was saying, to the east of Rapid City, you drive into Badlands National Park. It's only an hour drive, and it's a really unique prehistoric area, and millions of years ago it used to be a sea, and you can see a lot of fossils, or you can find a lot of fossils, and it's a really unique place to be. There's no lodging in Badlands National Park, just Cedar Pass Lodge, as you see in the left corner, and that's just some cabins, and it's a campground. And if you really want to enjoy Badlands National Park, you can do sunset or and stay in one of the cabins. As in all states, the Native American culture is really big in this area. The several tribes, they will have powwows. They will have that for themselves, but they invite visitors to join. So if there are lots of calendars, and if there are clients there in summer and they want to join, they always like that. And a lot of the Native American tribes in this area are starting up their international tourism as well. So they're very interested to share their culture with us. When you go all the way in the direction of Minnesota, you will come to the southeast of South Dakota, which is a totally different area. It's more farming land, and this is a great example. This is the corn house, and you see the pictures in the wall, and they're all made out of corn. And then you come into Sioux Falls, which is basically the first city in South Dakota if you come from Minnesota. That's a nice bigger town actually. There are about 200,000 people, but they have a really nice downtown, and the falls are in the river, and it's a nice area to just walk around. Of course, or maybe not of course, northeast South Dakota, it's all farmland, and it's home to De Smet. And De Smet, well, it's a very Belgian town name, named after Father De Smet, but it's also the place where Laurie Ingalls lived, and she was the writer of Little House on the Prairie. Then we move up north and we come in North Dakota, and North Dakota, well, if you look at the map, it looks a bit the same as South Dakota, and well, yes, it is, because the eastern side of North Dakota is all farmland and more flat, and the more you drive to the west, the more rugged the environment will be. We start in Fargo, and personally Fargo is one of my favorites in the area, because it's really, the downtown area is a little town as you know it from the 1960s and movies, but in the same time it's very 2021, I would say. So they have like the falls fronts, but also the nice little restaurants and beer houses, coffee places. So it has something, you have if you walk around, you feel like you're walking around in, I don't know, Back to the Future or something like that. But if you then go inside of one of the restaurants or bars, it feels just very contemporary. Oh, other side. Then if you drive west, and you know that in the US they really like to have the biggest of everything. Well, this is the biggest bison you see here, and that's, if you drive the interstate, you'll see it from the interstate, and it's really big bison sculpture. It's a bit fun, it's a bit, well, American, I would say. But if you want to visit it, just located next to this really big bison is the National Bison Museum, and that's all talking about the history of the bison in North America. Then you drive up to Bismarck-Mandan, and Bismarck is the capital of North Dakota. And just outside of Bismarck, you will find the, an Indian village which you can visit, and which shows you that some of the Indians were just very peaceful farming and fishermen. When you have an overnight in Bismarck, I recommend you to visit the North Dakota Heritage Center, which is a very modern, very nice museum with 3 types of exhibitions. And they have a really prehistoric one with dinos, and it's free. So it's, you know, I'm Dutch, so I have to say this, it's free, but I really recommend this center for a visit. Just outside, we have Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park, and as you know, in this area there are a lot of, they call it forts, from the days where the US government army tried to find their way to the west, which is nice to visit. And also you can see on the left picture the earth lodges from the Indians that lived there as well. Also in North Dakota, tribal tourism. This particular spot is from the MHA Nation, and this is a perfect example. They recently opened up, or they will open up this season, a brand new visitor center, and they really want to share their culture with visitors. And maybe if you see like performances like this, you might think it's maybe a bit touristy, But from their perspective, it really isn't, because they are doing it to pass on their culture and to pass on their stories. So in my opinion, and what I've seen from it, is very genuine. Also, of course, outdoor adventure. We have ranches, we have horseback riding, and the left picture shows you outdoor adventure, and especially, well, north of Medora, and that I will tell about it a bit later. There's an area that's also called the Badlands, and they have really great bike trails, and that's mostly for mountain biking. And then if you drive from Bismarck, you drive further west, you will come in a little town called Medora, and Medora is the entrance to Theodore Roosevelt National Park. And Theodore Roosevelt National Park is the only national park in America that is named after a person. And of course, Theodore Roosevelt, because Theodore Roosevelt is the founder of the national park system in USA. And the reason it's located here is that Theodore Roosevelt had a ranch in North Dakota, and he spent his first wife died at childbirth on 14 February actually, and he was devastated about this, losing his wife and his kid, and he spent about 6 months in his ranch in North Dakota, and it made him realize how important, how beautiful the nature in the US is, and how important it would be to keep that preserved for the next generations. And personally, I think we have a lot to thank him for, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have all this beautiful scenery in America. I mentioned the town of Medora. Medora is a really touristic place, I would say. In summer, it's really nice to visit, actually. Well, you have to if you want to visit the Roosevelt National Park. And in summer, every night, they will do a really professional musical. And what they will do is they incorporate the surroundings into the musical, especially towards the ending. And if you want to have the real experience, you can buy also a ticket for a pitchfork fondue. And previous to the start of the musical, you can have a real American or cowboy style meal. This is a little impression of Medora. And then driving out of North Dakota, we will enter Montana. Montana's second largest state of the lower 50, so after Texas, of course. And as you can see, it's really, really big. It has the farmland in the east, and it has the Rocky Mountains in the west. Eastern Montana, Billings is actually the biggest area of the biggest city of Montana. And in the east of Montana, you can visit Little Bighorn Battlefield. If you're interested in Native American history, this is actually the place where General Custer died in a battle. They fought, actually 2 nights ago, there was a really beautiful documentary on National Geographic, and it was called Montana from Above. And it was just like, I could have shown that one instead of this one, this presentation, but it also talked about Little Bighorn Battlefield. And if you really want to have a good experience, you can go to the visitor center and ask for a Native American guide to explain you what actually happened here. Montana, of course, is also cowboy country, and they have a lot of ranches. There are a lot of guest ranches, but there are also some really, really, well, let's call it nice guest ranches. But if you have higher end clients, they have really beautiful places here. We haven't talked about the Missouri River yet. The Missouri River crosses both North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana. And the Missouri River is a great place for outdoor adventure, but it also played a very important part in the history of this area, because Lewis and Clark used the Missouri River to find the passage from the eastern part of the country to the western part of the country. I think I said it before, but Montana has 3 entrances to Yellowstone National Park. This is the oldest one, and this one is based in Gardner. Another way to enter Yellowstone National Park is going through the Beartooth Highway. This is really one of the most beautiful, or maybe it's rated the most beautiful scenic drive in the US. And actually, if you can access it from Red Lodge in Montana or from Cody in Wyoming, and it drives you up in Yellowstone in a day, and it's a spectacular road to drive. Then between Yellowstone and Glacier National Park, if you have customers who want to combine those 2 parks, I would say advise them to at least do 1 overnight in between, but preferably more, because there's so much to see in that part of the Rocky Mountains. And what also was in the documentary I mentioned is that the gold rush played a really important part for this part of the country, because they found gold, they found silver, they found copper. So the railroads were here, and there were a lot of old mining villages. A lot of them are, after the mining or the mines dried out, were abandoned, and there are a lot of ghost towns you can find in this area. This particular one, I think it's Bannock State Park, but there are many, many, many. Also, if you drive between the park, there's a lot of wildlife. I know I've driven it on a certain route, and I didn't take an interstate, but just I think it was actually Highway 89, and we drove for about 100 miles without seeing a town, a village, or maybe 2 or 3 other cars. Very beautiful, very remote. Of course, Glacier National Park. There are hotels inside of the park, just not a lot. A good place to stay near Glacier would be, I would recommend White Lodge, actually. It's about an hour drive, but it's also beautiful located at a lake. Kalispell would be good. But Glacier National Park, because of the way there's only 1 road through the park, it's called Going to the Sun Highway, and it's a very high pass. Because of that, it's really hard to clear it from the snow every year. So usually it closes end of September and it opens 2nd week of June, if there's not too much snow. And a great way to do it is with the red jammer buses, and it's to be booked like a tour. Of course, Montana is a great winter destination. Good to mention is actually that the only way you can enter Yellowstone in winter is through the Gardner entrance, and from there the yellow buses are going into the park, and they will bring you to the Geyser Basin and to the Snow Lodge. And then finally we come in Idaho, and of course Idaho is also a 2nd largest something. Idaho has the 2nd largest wilderness area, and what you can see is the middle of the state. There are no roads, it's just wilderness. I think it's a beautiful state just because of nature and just because of there are not many people there. The northern part of Idaho is actually really nice. It's I think you can compare it a bit like to Switzerland or Austria. lakes, lower mountains, very relaxed. Also, if you go to the border, or you come from the border from Montana into Idaho, I mentioned before the railroads played a big role in this area in the earlier days. And now that they don't use, some of the railroads are not used anymore, and they made them into bike roads. And some of the bike roads, you actually enter tunnels, the old rail tunnels, and then descend from the mountains in the tunnels. I haven't done it. I think well, most of you know Hani, my colleague. She's done it, I think, and it's very scary. You get like a miner's light on your helmet, and you just drive down the tunnel. On the border with Oregon, Idaho has Hell's Canyon, and Hell's Canyon, that's where the Snake River goes through, and Hell's Canyon is supposed to be deeper than the Grand Canyon, and of course every state has to be the deepest or the biggest or the tallest. So this is the deepest canyon, and that is if you measure from the top of the highest mountain to the bottom of the gorge. It's a great place to visit. You have to visit it by boat. It's hard. It's not easy to access. You have to go all the way from the south, I think. But as a day tour, it's great. It's a great activity to do. Then just north of Boise, we have McCall, which is a nice rustic place to stay on the lake. You can hike, you can do all kinds of water activities. Then the capital of Idaho is Boise. For me, Boise is the most European-like town in the area. They have, I think, the only decent shopping mall in Boise. And at night or during the day, they have all kinds of sidewalk cafes that we Dutch really like, even if it's like 30 degrees. But it gives you a really outdoor taste. It's nice to be outside, have a beer, have a drink, have a wine. If you move up into the wilderness area, there are several scenic byways that you can do in Idaho, and one takes you right through Sun Valley. Sun Valley is near the village of Ketchum, and it's actually built with, as an example, a Swiss or Austrian village. But in the winter, I think it's one of the best skiing places in Idaho. Oh, there you go. Idaho has no national parks. It does have a national monument, instead Craters of the Moon. It's a good amount of time to drive. You can access it either from Idaho Falls, from Sun Valley, or from Twin Falls. It's in the middle of the desert-like area, and it's a lava field, and you can walk it. If you just drive it with the car, it takes you about, I don't know, 45 minutes. But you can walk through all the gauges, and it's a nice place. And actually, when I was there, it was spring, and then it was blooming, meaning there were all kind of fresh green little flowers in this gray-black lava field. Very beautiful. Then you have to be there in June, obviously. I mentioned Twin Falls, which is a little near the Utah border. You can see the bridge across the river where you can do all kinds of water sports, hot springs. Also, they also have hot springs actually in Wyoming as well, if you want to have a relaxed bathing experience. I can talk for hours, I think, but the presentation is done. Do you have any questions? Or are there any questions? If not, I hand it over back to Gerald.
Great. If you've got any question, don't hesitate to use the chat mode, of course. So, if no question, if you've got some question arriving just after the webinar, don't hesitate to send it to us, and we will answer to you without any problem. So,
and great. Yeah, and of course you can visit greatamericawest.nl to get more information, and most of you will have my contacts, and if not, Gerald can help you with that, I guess.
Yes, without any problem. Without any problem. So, great. So, if you don't have any question, actually, let's continue. Let me going back to the presentation. So great. So thank you very much, Marjolein, for this presentation.
You're welcome.
I hope you have all loved and discovered a lot of things about the Great American West. So just now, before ending this webinar, we are going to welcome, as usual now since the beginning of the year, two of our partners, tour operators partners. So we will have a short message today from USA Travel and Wings and Wheels. So we will, I think, first start with USA Travel. So Elke.
Hello everyone, dankjewel Marjolein voor deze hele interessante webinar. Goedemiddag aan iedereen, bonjour à vous tous. I will continue in English and in French and in Dutch again. So my name is Elke, I am the General Manager of USA Travel, and as you know, we are the specialist in tailor-made travel to the USA for more than 30 years already. On our website, you will find different or several fly and drive tours to the Great American West and also ranches. We are also in progress of creating some new tours, and one of them is Follow the Geyser Tour, which will combine Iceland and the Great American West. We are also working on another tour, which is a winter tour in Yellowstone. This means winter in Yellowstone, fewer people, more wildlife, more bison near the steaming geysers, and more chance to spot the walrus. The other thing is that the clients will also have the chance to drive around in snowmobiles and enjoy all the winter activities in this winter wonderland. Another way to discover this beautiful region is also by a private escorted tour. Future travelers will be more comfortable to return to the great outdoors if they travel in small groups or even with their own family. That is why we will offer a guided tour in small groups of maximum 14 people, but we will also be able to customize it for one family. Another thing of what I'm thinking is that even people will be able to follow the guided tour with their own car, for example. So don't hesitate if your clients need more information to contact us. Another small thing I would like to add is that we have a very important website, which is the Center for Disease and Control and Prevention. There are daily updates on it and important information and recommendations for people that travel, international travelers to the USA. If you need any information, please don't hesitate to take contact with the team or at our number that you all know. Hartelijk dank voor het luisteren. Weet dat wij hier zijn voor jullie, dat we al heel veel prijzen hebben ontvangen voor 2022. Merci pour votre attention. Nous avons reçu déjà beaucoup de prix pour 2022. Et on est là pour vous, n'hésitez pas à nous contacter. Gerald, back to you.
Bien, thank you, Elke. So, let's continue with Lucrèce. Lucrèce.
Thank you, Gerald. Hello, everyone, and thank you for following this very interesting webinar. And also many thanks to Marjolein for this wonderful presentation. It makes us really dream again and hope that we can visit these beautiful parks and cities very soon. Wings and Wheels has also a number of self-drives and guided tours that travel in and through these states, such as our Color Country Trail starting in Denver, the American Rockies starting in Seattle going to San Francisco. We have the Scenic Beauty Tour starting Vegas, ending in Denver, and we have our Rocky Mountain Spectacular starting in Seattle going to Salt Lake. And this last one is in a combination with Canada. So all these road trips you can find in detail on our website, wnw.be, and any request from your client can be worked out in a personalized way. The states you learned about today and the information, as Marjolein told you too, are also the ideal playgrounds for clients who like to include a ranch stay during their trip. We can offer at least 15 ranches, guest ranches or dude ranches, welcoming guests from all over the world. And one very famous ranch in Wyoming is the Hideout Ranch, an all-inclusive, upscale riding, horsemanship and working cattle guest ranch. And the owners, Peter Duckaboter and his wife, Marjolein, are the proud owners of this beautiful ranch. And as the name already suggests, they are two Belgian ones. Please also note the article about Colorado in the recent Visit USA newsletter. Colorado is a neighboring state of Wyoming and is easy to combine for self-drives. And last week, we received a very interesting news from Air France because they start July 2nd and this until the end of October with a direct flight from Paris to Denver, and this 3 times a week. So this will certainly help to promote travel to these beautiful regions. I also like to take the opportunity to inform you that in case you still have customers who travel to California this summer, although we know summer months are very uncertain, but you never know, and who would like to visit Yosemite National Park, they need a reservation now if they have accommodation outside the park. If they don't have a reservation, they will not be able to visit the park. So we have written out all the information and regulations, and you can obtain those details from Wings and Wheels just by simple request. And I like to end with a positive note, because this week, Las Vegas announced that all the hotels and the casinos from June the 1st will be operational again, and this for 100%. And today, I read that New York announces the same, so opening for 100% the offices, restaurants, bars, commerces by July the 1st. So as services start to open again, also in other areas, let's hope that we can slowly but surely get back to the United States and to Canada. And Wings and Wheels is ready for all your new requests and reservations. So stay positive, keep it healthy, and hopefully see or hear you very soon. Thank you and good afternoon. Back to you, Gerald.
Thank you, Lucrèce. So this arrived at the end of our webinar. So just as a reminder for the travel agent specialists, so here is the actual top 5 after our last quiz. So we've got Catherine van Brusselen from Travel Zone with 135 points, which is now the number 1. Then Lisbeth Canart from Lisbeth Race Center with 130 points. We've got Jay Mason with a less point due to this last quiz from Teal Travel, which is now 3rd with 130 points. Ludwig Verbruggen from Joker is still number 4 with 114 points. And a new arrival on number 5, Leslie Brouillard from Voyage Mayflowers with 99 points. So congratulations to you, and continue to answer to our quiz. So as I told you, you will receive, I think next week I will send you that. You will receive the link for the replay of this webinar, and also the quiz from this new webinar. Okay, so you will receive the question, and you will be also part of this travel agent specialist, but we will offer you to the three best, with the three best answers from the quiz, we will offer you 3 amazing goodie bags from the Great American West. So don't hesitate to play. Great. So if you've got any question, and then if you've got any question, please don't hesitate to write it down, or don't hesitate to send it to me. If it's something special from the Visit USA, it will be a real pleasure to answer to you. And if there is something special from the Great American West, don't hesitate, you can send it to me, and I will transfer without any problem to Marjolein, and she will answer to you as well. So this makes the end of this webinar. I think we've made 1 hour exactly this time. This is really nice. So I wish you an amazing weekend, an amazing new May. And for May, I also invite you for a brand new webinar. It will be a really special one, a special focus on Florida with some amazing guests. So you will receive the link to subscribe to this new webinar without any problem. And if you've got any question, we are still there for you. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon, and see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.